product. There was also UX, data, tech involved, and of course, all the vertical leader has been also involved in this strategy. So let's go for this presentation. We are going to try to do something like 15 minutes on presentation in order to keep time for Q&A. So do not hesitate to ask your question at the end. Looking at the product vision, so this vision is a product vision especially for generalists. If we look at generalists, 91 million of monthly active users are using our platform every month. We are a leader in almost every country, in almost every vertical. And if you take also the number of users that use the vertical, it means that we are 120 million monthly active users using Adevinta platform. It's more than Twitter, it's more than TikTok in Europe. Just imagine the impact you've got on Europe. And today, we owe this leadership due to a strong user satisfaction. All NPS are positive. Even Millennium Shoes, all NPS are positive, so this is really a great news. And if we look at mobile, all the ratings are also very positive from our user. Why mobile is important? Because our users today are mobile first. 90% of our usage is mobile. So we only think about mobile first. This is the reason why we look at mobile data. When we have done our studies, we were very surprised that all the user studies say the same thing. Even that you are German, from Benelux, from Italy, from Spain, from France, if you are talking about generalists, vertical, all the user studies say the same things. Our private users, they are looking for efficiency. They are looking for good deals. They are looking for simplicity, trust and safety. And of course, the ability to do transaction and easy way to finance it, and sustainability, which is part of our DNA. If you look at professional, it's exactly the same. And even if you compare generalist to vertical, which was quite a surprise when we do this exercise. Professional users, they are looking for inventory management. They are looking for brand and marketing. They are looking for supply and demand, and for sure to have smart sourcing, especially for mobility and for real estate. So the user needs are the same. However, despite strong user satisfaction, all generalist platforms suffer from the same issue. Lack of trust. Everybody has heard about the story about our marketplace. Low efficiency or not enough efficiency for sure. We are losing young people, and especially Gen Z. And we see every day the number of competitors that are increasing, especially on some specific niche. Having said that, when we build our product vision, we took into consideration several elements, and especially the technological trends. We need to take into consideration that our world now needs to include AI and machine learning. Same for public blockchain, especially for digital wallets. We need to take into consideration that social commerce is now something very important, especially for e-commerce. And last but not least, sustainability is key. Sustainability is part of our DNA. If we are doing well our job, we are going to be more and more sustainable. And it's a way for us also to differentiate ourselves compared to our competitor. And as I said before, we are losing youngs. And who are the people who are way much more focused on sustainability? Everyone is focused on sustainability, but the main target is youngs. So definitely, it matches this playing wheel. So now let's talk about product vision. Product vision is for everyone. Product vision is a 360 experience. It means from web to application, from CRM, email to push notification, and also for customer care and sales. 360 experience for both private and professional users. The other thing which is quite important is when we talk about product vision for generalist marketplace, a lot of people have thought about, okay, so it's a vision for e-commerce. no, it's not a vision for e-commerce, because 80% of our users in most of our marketplace, 60% in Millennium Shoes, are cross-vertical. It means they are using the generalist part for the e-commerce, but also for mobility, for real estate, and they're switching from one category to another in order to increase our virtuous cycle. So this is the reason why this product vision concerns all vertical and is aligned with the strategy of real estate and mobility. It's a strategy for everyone. So product vision is for generalist marketplace, but also concern all verticals. The time frame is 3 years. Why 3 years? Because it's linked to our Polaris platform, and I can see some nice shirts here looking at Polaris. Over the next 3 years, we are going to split it in two. For the first year or first year and a half, we are going to be focused on launching Polaris. So mid-next year, we are going to launch Polaris in Germany and in France in order to leapfrog the experience of Leboncoin and Kleinanzeigen on one common platform. And then, until the end of 2025, we are going to add the other marketplaces on Polaris, step by step. Millennium Shoes is the next one after Kleinanzeigen, for example. And in the meantime, we are going to leverage all the people working on Polaris to develop new features, new capabilities to be able to answer user needs. So this is the reason why it's two-step roadmap in 3 years. And this vision is possible because we are going to rely on one common platform. Just one small reminder to be sure that everyone understands it well. When we talk about Lighthouse, Lighthouse is a project. Polaris is a platform where 2,500 people will work on this platform in order to answer our user need and do a deeper verticalization experience in each vertical. Okay? So if we look at product vision and what are our main priorities, what are our pillars? We've got 4 main pillars. The first one is vibrancy. Vibrancy is also the name from former ECG to talk about virtuous cycle. So you are used, more used about this wording, in order to improve supply and demand for our user to improve efficiency. The second one is trust. Why trust? Because we see in our user study that we are lacking of trust. So we need to invest a lot in this subject. Even if we have done a lot of things over the last 3 years, we still need to improve ourselves and to invest in this topic. The third pillar is transactional, because this is our biggest opportunity to grow. So we are going to spend a lot of energy on this one. And the last but not least, it's verticalization. Verticalization, it's part of our strategy, our global strategy for Adevinta. It's a rise. So definitely, it's one of our priorities. So we've got 4 pillars: trust, vibrancy, transactional, verticalization, and all these pillars rely on one enabler, which is automation. As I said just before, we've got new technological trends that we need to take into consideration, like AI and machine learning. And so with automation, we want to automate everything to make the life of our user easier, simpler, faster. And when we talk about user, it's our external user for sure, but also our internal user. We want to automate all our tooling. Thanks to this pillar, we will be able to have direct impact on our main KPIs. So for sure, the business KPI, revenue and EBITDA, which are the most important if you talk to edX or to our board, but also our product KPIs, visits, new ads, leads, and transactions. And of course, especially when you talk about products, what is important is the satisfaction of our user. So we want to increase the user satisfaction. We want to increase the NPS. We want to increase the CSAT, and to have, for example, the same NPS in Millennium Shoes than in Subito, so going from 5 to 66. Having said that, let's be concrete. What will be our journey? What will be our product vision? As you can see, right on in this slide, there is written disclaimer. What you are going to see, it's not a roadmap. It's a journey that we want to take. We want to be pragmatic, we want to be concrete, so we want to give you the ability to project yourself in the future and say, okay, what will be the experience that we want to deliver to our user? But for sure, we are going to spend time in order to do the right discovery, the right research, to involve all the team to define what would be the right features for our user. But it's a way to explain what is our journey. So you are going to see some features, some screenshots. It's not the final feature, it's not the prioritized feature, it's not the final screenshot and design. It's just a way to project yourself in the next 3 years in order to be concrete. Okay? It's me after? No, it's you. And just last point, which is quite important, it's the way we have built this roadmap. There is several elements to keep in consideration. The first one, you are going to see on the slide the why. And the why, it's all about user and data. We are taking all our decisions based on user and data. This is our motto in the product direction. All our decisions should be taken through data and user. The second one, it's foundation. So it's all the stuff that's going to appear thanks to Polaris. Each time a marketplace will migrate to Polaris, automatically they will benefit from this. And the last one is new value, is what we are going to develop in the upcoming months and years just after.
Thank you very much, Martin, and thank you especially for having this time to explain to all the Spanish people the product vision from a first hand, and also to have the occasion of make questions later. So I will go on presenting this product vision. I hope I'm not just in front of the slides. And oh, sorry. So I will start presenting vibrancy, the first of the 4 pillars. Please, for 1 second, think about a concert of your favorite band. Think about a music festival. Think about the final of some sports, for example, the final of the World Cup, or think about a final game in the Olympics. How the audience is feeling, that's vibrancy. Obviously, when we talk about digital products, we're not trying to translate this directly because it's not exactly the same. We don't expect our users to be shouting and jumping in front of the mobile phone. That's not exactly the same. But we want that at a different level, our users feel this kind of vibrancy. And what that this means? This means that this happen, the things happen. They are in the place where they can sell, they can find opportunities, things move, the stuff is moving, the items they are selling disappear, appear new opportunities, so they can feel the vibrancy and they can fit our app from the top of the funnel. That's what this sentence is trying to translate and to reflect. No, a vibrant marketplace offers buyers and sellers a dynamic and frictionless way to transact on exclusive opportunities. That's vibrancy. And we have also a North metric to measure this, that is liquidity in the end. How our, as we cannot always know when the items are sold, we're using leads, as traditionally, no? So new ads approved with leads in 7 days, but that's the traditional liquidity. In the end, if a marketplace is vibrant, if a marketplace is really vibrant, the stuff will move. The items will, new items will appear quickly and items will be sold pretty quickly. So things will move and there will be a lot of liquidity. That's vibrancy, that's how we want to measure it. And why vibrancy? Why is one of the pillars? Well, first, before going even into the content of the slide, vibrancy is top of the funnel. If you have a good top of the funnel, all the metrics will move. It will fit all the metrics. And the other way around, if you don't have top of the funnel, you can have the best product in the world. Nothing will work. So we need to fit this. And our data is reflecting that we have a space to grow. So if we check, for example, our new ads approved and we compare with competitors like Vinted, we see that Vinted has more new ads approved than ads, mainly driven by fashion, but they have more new ads approved than ads. So we have a space to grow. We have a space to get more vibrancy, more top of the funnel. Or even if we check another piece of data, the visitors that we have on our marketplaces, we see a big percentage of visitors that are not doing relevant actions. Is the numbers that we are reflecting there. The 37% on Kleinanzeigen, 44% on Marktplaats, and so on. So we have a good opportunity. We have the people there. The top of the funnel is there. We just need to convert them into actions of interest. A part of this, the feedback of our users, what they are saying to us is that they are interested in vibrancy. What they want is to buy and sell quickly, find good opportunities, do this frictionless. So we have a massive opportunity there. And there is something else about vibrancy that is a context where if you help the seller, you're helping the buyer. If you help the buyer, you're helping the seller. Because if you add more ads, the buyer has more opportunities to buy, and it's easier that the buyer finds the opportunity once. And the other way around, I mean, if there are buyers willing to buy things, the sellers will sell quickly their stuff. So we're really feeding the two ways around. And how are we going to move the vibrancy? What are the opportunities we have ahead? What our vision is thinking that we have opportunities to develop? That's what I'm going to present now, some opportunities where we want to invest. So first, it's about user experience. We have an opportunity of improving the seller's user experience and make easier the way how the sellers are adding the ads into the platform with the target that, it has actually two targets. One target is that we get more new ads approved, more ads, but there is a second target that is we get better quality ads, because with automation, by using the artificial intelligence to make this process smoother and simpler and frictionless, what we get is that we are reducing the barrier on one hand, but on the other hand, we're reducing the errors, because we know that an ad incorrectly categorized, for example, is more difficult to be found by the buyers. Or another example, if I make mistakes or I publish a bad quality ad, even if the item is good, the willingness of the buyer will decrease. So that's one of the opportunities. But we can help the sellers farther away from this. We have a lot of data. We have a bunch of data that can be of value for our sellers, and we can help them to get a much better performance from our side. We can tell the sellers when is the hottest moment to sell an item, or we can tell the sellers what is the right price to sell an item, and then we can improve their performance, and we're helping the sellers, and at the same time, we're helping the buyers. Farther away, we can help the professional sellers to get the right visibility they want with advertising, retail media, call it if you want even visibility products, because in the end is that. We want to offer visibility to our professional sellers that have a higher demand. They need to sell more stuff. They are doing actual business with this. So they need a relevance different than the private users. And it's something where we can help them and we can provide these solutions for them with intelligence, trying to focus on the performance and not on simple visibility. But let's move the other way around. What about buyers? We know that we need to help our buyers to find the stuff they want to transact with, the stuff they want. First, we have an opportunity, we all know, to improve the regular search and the traditional search flows. For example, checking and improving the relevance of the results of the search, or showing similar items. On this example, we're showing similar items based on the pictures using artificial intelligence to detect items that are really similar and we cannot detect just based on the title or the category. We can help to discover with personalization, with SEO is quite important for the users that are starting the search out of our site, or notifications and alerts to, if you are not finding this stuff, you will find it later, but we can help you. But it's not just that. We can go into a tailored search experience, and we can go farther away. What does this mean? Is that we can have a smart search where we are really helping the users to find what they want, and we can help the users on this process of finding, or even a visual search where you don't want to spend time parameterizing the search and giving all the data. You only say, I want something like this, and we can offer this. We have this opportunity ahead, and once we have one common product, we can invest in all of this stuff. It's not all about this. We have talked about this many times, but in Adevinta, we have the possibility of being part of the life of our users. We can be present when the users find a new job, when the users are buying the first house, buying a car, or the user had a baby and needs stuff for this baby, and the baby grows up, and then you sell this stuff because you don't need it anymore and it's occupying useless space in your home. We can be part of the life of the users. We can impact users' life. And if we can impact users' life, we can also be social. And why are we mentioning this social part? Because as we mentioned before, and Martin was mentioning before, we're struggling to get users in the younger generation. So here we can create a new way to engage the users, so the users are not simply using an app, but they are feeling part of this app. And we have opportunities like interactive content, branded profiles, so influencers can be part of our offer, social hooks, and we can lever all of this social side. And last but not least, we put sustainability of the heart of our products. We are sustainable by nature. We don't need to make an effort. We're selling second-hand stuff. There is nothing more sustainable than our own business. So we want to communicate this. We want to help the users. They realize they are contributing for a sustainable world, for sustainable commerce by using our apps. And that's what we want to communicate here. And also, we think this can help us to attract the younger generations, as we know they are much more committed than the older generations with sustainability. So it's something we can communicate and help us to grow. And that's vibrancy. That's the vibrant feeling we want to create. And now I hand over into Martin for the next pillar.
Thanks. So the first pillar was vibrancy. The second one is about transaction. Switching from a classified experience to a e-commerce experience. We want to lead e-commerce towards Europe. So how are we going to do? First of all, just have a quick look on data. Today, we are doing 25 million payouts a year. This is great. This is growing. We can be very proud about it. But if we look at Vinted, it's 50 million per month. So we are way below for the moment. There is still a big, big opportunity to grow. And we know it, and we know exactly what we need to do in order to do that. So we need to improve the supply, and we talk about vibrancy, but we need also to improve our adoption rate. As you can see, the adoption rate is not yet at the same level everywhere, and still we can make it grow. We can have all our content all together thanks to the cross-border opportunities. We will talk about it. We can also improve our funnel. As you can see, our pay-in to pay-out rate, for example, is not good enough. And there is, of course, new opportunity to provide supply through the B2C opportunity. So a lot of opportunity to grow. This is the good news. What's going to happen when we are going to switch to Polaris? Polaris will give us the ability to have a real transactional model. It means that every marketplace will have the ability to do direct purchases, so the ability to have buy now feature, the ability to buy bundles, so several goods at the same seller with discount fees, but also the ability to have wallets. We're talking about wallets since years, or installment payments. And as our DNA is local, we want also to provide transaction through a local way. So we want to provide face-to-face payments. And all of this will be available when each marketplace will switch to Polaris. But we can go even fast. We can provide more delivery method, more local method, have big items, for example. We want to provide more payment method to focus on financing, have more way to finance the goods. We want to provide added valued services to the user, like insurance, like authentication check. And for sure, we want to leverage promotion, because we know promotion is a good way to increase awareness, consideration, trial, usage, all the marketing funnel. So we need to leverage promotion through promo codes, through wallets. There is a lot of way to do it, and we are going to accelerate on this one. Talking about delivery, we know that we've got a huge opportunity through cross-border. It's been years that we're talking about cross-border, and we were not able to do it because we all have 5 different platforms with 5 different payment solutions. And it was a mess to connect everything all together. Good news, once we will be on Polaris, we will be able to provide cross-border. This is the magic of having one common platform. It accelerates in terms of feature, experience, but also it allows us to do stuff that we were not able to do in the past. So it means that tomorrow, if you look at Spanish people, they will have access to 200 million online ads at once when they're going to connect a million shoes. Imagine the liquidity, 200 million online ads for million shoes users. And same for the seller. For the seller, it means he will be able to sell to 91 monthly active users on the platform. It's a big, big change for both buyers and sellers, a big opportunity for us. Another opportunity, and we talked about promotion a bit before, it's delivery. what we saw when we did a lot of delivery promotion, we did, for example, in Spain, free delivery promotion, the number of transactions just grow up from multiply by 2 to multiply by 10, depending on the country. So we've got a huge opportunity to grow in terms of volumes. So we want to provide an offer for the user, a new subscription model to have unlimited delivery on our platform. It's a way to accelerate our transaction adoption and accelerate our virtuous cycle. So it's a big, big change. Another opportunity, it's B2C. With B2C, automatically, when each marketplace will switch to Polaris, they will have a lot of new stuff. So for sure, all the elements, payments, delivery, financing, but also stuff that are mandatory for our professional users that wants to be able to advertise, to put their ads on our platform. So like stock management, like click and collect, variation management, so just the ability on the same product page to choose between several colors or several sizes. It's a big change. And same, we want to provide them more dashboarding and import stuff. But we want to go deeper. We want to have a tailored experience for all B2C users. So it means you don't have the same you don't have the same needs if you are a big retailer or a small and medium retailer. For example, small and medium retailer, they are going to have a specific focus on local, where big retailers prefer to have API and import solutions. Another point which is very important is right now our success is linked to C2C, to the efficiency we are able to provide to private users. We don't want to do like eBay in the past, to focus on professional, not eBay, not classified, but the auction one, where they focus on professional, and we lose all the efficiency of private user. So we are going to manage also the liquidity and the efficiency in order to protect our private user compared to the professional user. And last but not least, as Rosé just said just before, we've got other way to provide content. And we want to leverage retail media advertising solution also to provide solution and answer to our user needs. And last point, which is key, when we talk about transaction it's not only e-commerce. Transaction is a way of thinking. Transaction, it's a new opportunity everywhere. So we are going to be transactional everywhere, not only in e-commerce, but also in mobility, and we are going to talk a bit after about financing, warranty. Same for real estate. We've got a lot of opportunities through rental management and holidays rental for emerging vertical. So transaction is about all vertical and not only e-commerce. And in order to talk about trust, Andrea.
Thank you, Martin. Hi, everyone. I'm Angela. For those who don't know me, I'm product director in central teams in Trust and Connecting. And I'm going to talk to you about trust, the trust pillar. And as Martin was saying, trust is one of our main user pain points, and we need to make it a priority. And trust is about users feeling confident that nothing will go wrong. And if things go wrong, we will fix them. And our main KPI is our global metric, FU, which stands for Fraud and Violation Exposed Users. The problems around trust in our marketplaces expand across the entire user journey. And the challenge here is that the deeper the user gets into the user journey, the greater their vulnerabilities, because they will have more interactions with other users and they will share sensitive information like bank accounts. And we do have, we do have mechanisms to stop them. And what we see in the data is that malicious actors have two entry points: the login and registration for buyers and sellers, and the contact point for sellers. And as I was saying, we do have mechanisms to stop them from entering our marketplaces, but we're not able to catch them all. So we still see malicious activity at other points in the user journey. And the more transactional we become, the higher the user expectations. And we cannot deliver in those expectations And the impact of that is increase on complaints, loss of users, and bad reputation for our marketplaces. So our users expect to have a safe, a good, and reliable experience. And we have still room for improvement, as we were also mentioning for transactions and vibrancy. But we also have the opportunity to make trust one of our differentiators. And because we want our users to choose our products, because they trust that things will go as expected. So by fighting fraud, we aim to eliminate those malicious actors from even entering our marketplaces and not even having any interaction with our users. We want to promote good users and good behaviors and eliminate the risk for them. And customer care plays a critical role on engaging and retaining our users. And by investing in customer care capabilities, we will ensure we are easy to reach, we will respond fast, and we will solve any issues for our users. And then if we move into how we are going to achieve some of these objectives, with Polaris, we have the opportunity to connect our multiple existing but today scattered solutions and have them share data, verdicts, and conclusions. So we are not only able to enhance our solutions, but also to communicate to our users in the right moment with the right purpose and drive them through a good and safe transaction experience. Then there are other areas we also want to invest within the trust pillar, and we want to improve our communication. In first place, because we know that users that leave our platform are more vulnerable to fraud. And we need to give them the necessary tools and experience so they don't feel that they need to migrate to other platforms. And here we have some examples of some features and functionalities we want to provide, like messaging for all, including pro users, then automated replies, also educate the users on what is sensitive information they shouldn't share with other users, so that we can also create a more safer communication experience, and also introduce voice message so that they don't have the need to share their phone numbers. Then with Polaris, we want to enable a holistic view of our users. So understanding our users' behaviors and who they are, distinguishing between good and bad users, and leveraging some relevant data like trust signals. And with that, we will help our users understand who they can transact with. Customer care, as we were saying, plays a critical role in engaging and retaining our users. And we can also make of this one of our differentiators. So by utilizing our data and also integrating the customer care process within the regular user process, we will improve the overall experience of our users, especially in these moments where they are facing some issues. And finally, we want to minimize the cost. Yeah? I'm sorry. No. Oh. Thank you. Better? Sorry. This way. So, yes, as I was saying, so finally, we want to minimize the cost impact of customer care investments. And for that, we will leverage the enabler that we were presenting before, automation. So automated processes will help us effectively manage the cost of customer care capabilities. And that was all for trust, and I'm going to hand over to Stefan to talk us about verticals. Thank you.
Thanks. Good. Let's continue with our next pillar, with the third one, verticalization. What is verticalization about? Verticalization is about that we will cater for a specialized user experience in order to enable a richer and a much deeper experience in our categories in selected verticals in order to drive the buyer and the seller success. How will we measure that? We'll measure these with the percentage of new ads approved and with a lead within 7 days. per vertical, because as you can imagine, the number of new ads approved in consumer goods is a bit different to the number of new ads approved in real estate. So why would we like to do that? If we look at the cross-category or cross-vertical usage of our generalists, we can see that more than 80% of our users are frequently going to other verticals. And that's a huge asset. Because if we look into mobility or cars, that's happening every 4 or 5 years. If you go into real estate, that even takes more time depending on buying or renting. So therefore, we would like to leverage this and leverage this for the vertical experience. And we'll do this for our consumer goods, clearly for jobs, for real estate, for cars, and for holiday rentals. And the second need why we need to do this is clearly because we are competing with a range of niche and vertical players which we need to beat. We need to beat them on a vertical level. And therefore, we'll have dedicated squads and tribes in order to follow up on this. So we'll have 3 tribes representing re-commerce, mobility, and real estate and emerging verticals. And Polaris will enable us to do this on a common platform with a common user experience, but will allow us to integrate a much deeper vertical experience, leveraging capabilities, features, and functions out of the verticals, out of the pure vertical players, which we plan to scale into the Polaris platform in order to not develop things 2, 3, 4 times, and in order to share those capabilities and offer them to our users and clients. Now that said, and concluding the pillars of our generalist vision, let's come to the vertical parts of our generalist vision, of our product vision, sorry. I will start with mobility and then continue with real estate and emerging verticals. And I'm here today because David Gebhardt is not in Spain, so I present for him, and I ask for his approval before that. So, as you know, mobility represents a big portion of our business, not just because of their strength in the vertical, but also because they have a huge footprint in the generalist. They are a very important category in our generalist. And also, like with all our other markets, there is a number of changes in the mobility sector and in the mobility market, changing customer and user needs, and we need to apply them, we need to address their needs. And here are the 5 key ones which we identified to develop our strategy around. And to start with, we would like to continue strengthening our core experience, our core C2C and our core B2C experience, to further grow our revenue, to further grow our market share. In order to do that, we need to further and deeper integrate into the dealer value chain. We need to become a partner, their technology and tooling partner, rather than just being a marketing channel. And in order to do that, we'll offer tools based upon data and insights, which we have as a market leader in various markets, and we are unique in that respect. That we will use to further integrate in the value chain. We'll improve our digital retailing capabilities because, as you can imagine, for a dealer, this is a lot of change. The whole buying journey of a car is getting more digital, and we need to offer them data, insight, and tools in order to master that change. Then, as you know, and we have been talking about this in real estate and in other markets, there is also a switch in mobility from ownership towards usership. There are different models like sharing, like mid or long-term leasing, which we need to address. And last but not least, the OEMs are also changing the distribution strategy. They want to control more of the car selling process, called the agency model, and that impacts their strategy clearly, but also the dealers. Now, looking at the product and product initiatives, what does that mean on the buyer side? On the buyer side, we'll focus on 2 specific things. Making the buying process of a car or the journey more digital, much easier to say that, and offer different ownership models. So that means that searching for a car, selecting the car you would like to have, reserving it online will be different than you do it today. We'll continue that into how you finance your car. You will be able to do this online. You will be able to pay for that car online, and we'll continue this until you either pick it up yourself or you get it delivered to your doorstep. Of course, when you decided to either own or drive a car, you also need services like insurances, like financing, which we can offer along that journey and which we can monetize. Within that journey, our users and buyers will be able to select between different ownership models, either buy a car, finance it, or lease it, or subscribe to a model. If we talk or come to the private sellers, they are, of course, not used to selling a car. They don't do this on a day-to-day basis. Therefore, we need to ease their experience of selling a car and of listing a car. It needs to be simple, they need guidance in that process, and it needs to be easy for them because they don't do it every day. So we would like to give much more trust and transparency and leverage our data and our markets insight we have in order to help them find the right price, for example, and how they best sell that car. On the professional side, that's a different story. They do this day by day, they're experts. For them, we'll continue offering reach and visibility products and extend this by leveraging our content sharing with the verticals in order to generate more demand and give them more leads. But as I was saying at the beginning, the dealer tooling is key in order to integrate deeper into the day-to-day processes of the dealers and of the professional sellers, because that gives us a high log-in factor. And that will come through the data we have at hand, through dashboards and through tooling, helping them to better address the market needs. Which models, which brands are much more requested? What kind of stock do I need to source in order to sell the most demanded cars to my buyers? And a bit the same is valid for the OEMs. For the OEMs, we would like to offer data products and tools and further integrate into the value chain. But there also, today we are seen as a marketing channel and we need to become their technology and tooling partners. That means changing the relationship we have with OEMs. And summarizing that up for mobility, we'll focus on three major things. We'll focus on digitizing the whole car buying journey. We'll further integrate into the deep value chain of the dealers and OEMs, and we'll offer different ownership and usership models. Those are the three things you need to remember for mobility. Now, let's continue with real estate and emerging verticals. And real estate first. So when we were developing the real estate strategy and vision, we were talking or focusing mainly on two things: the market conditions, the market trends, and the given Adevinta Group context. Talking about the market conditions and trends, we see several of them, and some are similar to what we have just talked about in mobility. It's a change in consumer behavior. The increasing real estate prices, the high costs of interest rates clearly change from ownership to usership. We cannot afford to buy anymore, we need to rent. And that trend we need to address. Then various players are getting closer and closer towards the transactional part of the journey, and we need to address that and also offer processes, tools, and options, financing mortgages along that journey. Which brings us to serving more of the value chain. We are clearly extending not just into the value chain, but also in front of it in order to address the part of the inspirational phase, giving advice. Should you want to buy something or rent something used or new? And that the further digitalization, which we have also seen first in the mobility part, also here affects the agent role. The agent as there are 3D visits online available and online booking of visits, can focus on much more value-creating tasks than doing that. And we clearly see the opportunity to develop more transactional models and services in the rental sector. What does that mean for the initiatives on our product? For the seeker side, we'll have to improve the user experience along the whole user journey. From how you give advice, as I was just saying, should you buy, should you rent, should you buy something new or something used, over the improved search, ease the contact phase, and end with the transactions where we would like to offer loan simulators or financing options, because there is clearly the need to have that. However, focusing, we will, on the improved search and the provide advice. We'll not be able to do everything. Those two will be our focus points in improving that journey. That's based upon also, if we look at the different maturity of our products and platforms we have in the market. That's why our focus is there. Looking into the private sellers, similar to what I was talking about, the mobility part, they are not used to do this on a day-by-day basis. They need help. We need to professionalize the selling experience. We need to help them have an ad presentation as professional as the agencies, for example. So that is our core focus, to help them do this. And we'll try to monetize that as much as possible. The second part is the contact management. Because as we all, we need to work, we cannot write emails and have visits during the day. No, we need to manage this and help them adapt to their day-to-day needs. There are other needs identified, like assistance through seller mandates or landlord services, legal advice or certificates or contractual topics, which we'll address, but not with the focus. Our focus, again, clearly is the professionalization of the selling experience. And coming to the professional sellers, there is to meet the clear vertical level and offer an alternative to our vertical competitors out there in the market. That means improving our core experience, ad management, upload, additional visibility products, and most of all, data products and data tools to help them better judge and understand the market. That is where we need to come up in order to offer a great value alternative against our competitors. Coming to jobs. Again, with jobs, we took into account market and we took into account our Adevinta context. And in the market we find that today we have a much higher velocity in job turnover. It's 1.5, 2 years, a much higher frequency, which is an opportunity for us because we'll get more job offers through that. We have much more increased demand in terms of work from home or cross-border assignments or short-term assignments for just projects or gig jobs. We need to address that. We have a tendency or a trend that we need to focus much more on diversity and inclusion. And we saw in the hackathon the first idea, how do we help our users to write the job offers in a much more inclusive, in a much more equal way, not to close out certain people. But there are also social factors having an impact, like the aging population or much more severe jobs polarization. The aging population impacts more senior role. So because there is a higher aging population, younger people have more difficulties getting into those roles. And we know that the higher degree of automation and the application of artificial intelligence will have an impact on the jobs environment in the long term. Now coming to the group context, if we look at jobs, we have one clear market leader in Spain as a vertical, with a very mature and a very sophisticated product. Looking at the horizontals at the generalists, we see that we have a big product gap towards the market because that's an underinvested category in the horizontals. That means that looking at the situation we have, we need to scale and leverage the capabilities we have on the vertical scale it into Polaris, and with the rollout of Polaris, bring it to the different markets. Because for jobs, the biggest opportunity is in Germany. And how can we reach it? Through Polaris. For real estate, the biggest opportunity lies in France and in Germany. And in France, in order to extend our value chain. How do we do this? Through scaling into Polaris and through leveraging the capabilities of our verticals. With jobs, we took one specific decision if we talk between generalists and vertical. And because the generalist audience has its strength in the blue-collar sector, we'll carve out and not focus on white-collar in the generalist part, because we'll not win there. If you take a look at the biggest opportunity in Germany, there is Stepstone, very strong, a long time there. Our strength is in the blue-collar audience. That's why we'll focus on blue-collar there and start from there and not go into the white-collar sector. In jobs, of course, in InfoJobs, we'll keep all three of them. We're established here in Spain. We'll address all the colors. In terms of product initiative, is clearly about owning further and strengthening the relationship to the candidates, and therefore, again, is the focus on search experience and candidate experience. Improve the uploading of a CV, improve the matchmaking, all of that, what improves the experience and locks in our candidates will be our focus in jobs. Of course, there are additional services like upscaling or career path advice, but that will address as an add-on, but not focus on it. And in terms of professional recruiters and companies, we need to improve our core competencies in order to really address the needs of big recruiters, of big companies. That means core functionalities, a much higher volume of integrated or connected ATS, and integrating or rolling out our own ATS in order to address the needs of small and medium businesses. Because they are not, it's a bit like private sellers, no? They are not on a day-by-day hiring people. Therefore, we need to ease that experience for them to help them do this while they're standing in the bar or while they're working in the workshop. And now, if you have found your new job and you have found your new home or you're renting your new apartment, now let's come to the part where you can book your holidays and enjoy the time off. That's holiday rentals. Holiday rentals, we are mainly talking about leboncoin and Locasun. And there, our focus point is switching from a local classifieds player to a cross-border transactional platform or booking platform. That requires that we will invest into the online booking basics like calendar functionality and online bookability, not just sending a request, whether you're allowed or you can book it or not. No, it's real online bookability. Invest into the transactional use case in order to make this possible cross-border, and try to increase our content by more interconnectivity and by leveraging the assets of our group. In the real estate sector, for example, or in the real estate platforms, we know that we have short-term rentals, but also vacation rentals there. We just need to bring that content together. With that part, I conclude the whole vertical part, and as Martin was saying at the beginning, that was not a separated exercise. That was a collaboration between all the different teams and product directors and tech directors of the different parts. leboncoin, Subito, Marktplatz, Kleinanzeigen, we all work together in order to develop that and bring it together, and therefore that's really one piece of product vision and strategy and not separate ones. And I think you could see that if you look at the pillars and the different points which exists also in the vertical strategies and in the generalist strategies. And with that, I pass over to Angela for the last part of the presentation.
So promise, there's only one more thing. And no, it's important to say that our users love our brand, right? But it's true that they also have very high expectations and high standards on the products that they use every single day, and especially young generations. So for us, it's really important to address this challenge, and we're going to do it through our new UI, which will be adapted to the local brands. And we will continuously improve our user experience, and we will challenge it every 2 years to ensure that we are meeting our users' expectations. And we will pay attention to each little detail. Here we have just some examples. We know that dark mode is top demand for our users and very well adopted in the rebranding for Kleinanzeigen. Then accessibility, because we are building a product for everyone and we don't want to leave anyone aside. And the performance, as well as tone of voice, and then we will ensure that we enhance our user experience through animation and micro interactions. And to conclude, we want you to enjoy our product vision in a nutshell. Just 3 minutes. And
over 100 million people use our marketplaces every month in order to look for a phone, sell their car, find a new apartment, or search for a job. They are looking for the right deal in a safe and user-friendly environment. Over the next 3 years, we will deploy the new Polaris platform across our generalist marketplaces. We will continuously improve our product offering by focusing on privacy, transactions, trust, and verticalization, all of which will be enabled through the power of automation. This will lead to a game-changing experience for our users. And by going beyond their expectations, we will become the leading European marketplace. Starting with vibrancy, our marketplaces will become a dynamic and seamless environment by using the full potential of AI and machine learning. This will help our users to buy and sell whatever they want, whenever they want. And while doing this, we put sustainability at the heart of our products. Transactions are our greatest growth opportunity. Our products will allow our users to transact easily and efficiently, and by bringing the best e-commerce practices to our marketplaces, we lead Europe towards cross-border circular consumption. Our users will trust us because they know we guarantee a safe platform. 3 years ahead, they can focus on what really matters, to buy and sell. And if something goes wrong, we are easy to reach, answer fast, and solve issues straight away. 80% of our users are cross-vertical. We will offer tools and features adapted to the specific needs in each vertical and category on the Polaris platform, deeply embedding our users in the Adevinta universe. Together, we will create exceptional value for both old and young users. Together, we will build great products and services that address the needs of new and existing customers. Together, we will shape the next generation of marketplaces, paving the way for the future. The future starts now.
So that was pretty intense. We want to keep half an hour to do Q&A. We are going to focus on Q&A here also, but we've got also a Slido open for the ones that are not here. But let's start with the room. Don't be shy. I'm sure you've got a lot of questions.
Okay. On a global UX question on your last point, Angela. You mentioned that the UX should be like challenged every 2 years, and I wonder where that came from, what it would look like, because it seems like something to be like continuously challenging what the UX should look like.
Okay, so the aim is to change our UX every time and to change step by step our user experience. What we want to say with this slide is that we want to change our statu quo and force us to think and take a step back just to see, okay, how can we make evolve the platform? It's definitely, if you look at the 5 main generalist marketplace, all don't have exactly the same strategy right now. If you look at Milan Shoes, for example, the product a lot evolve in terms of user experience. If you look at Kleinanzeigen, for example, there is a principle that the product should not too much evolve to avoid consumer shock. So this is why we say, okay, when we look at what we have done in all of your Euro5 marketplace, we want to take time in order to refresh our user experience quite often. But for sure, it will be step by step and not just a big bang every 2 years. It was just a message to say we are going to invest time to keep up to date our application for our user.
Curiosity. I've seen a difference, Stefan, in the presentation of real estate where we put some areas of focus, and probably we do not have that in other cases. Which is the reasoning that you let, let's say, so you talk about different things, but you put emphasis on some focus on some certain things in real estate, and you do not do that in the others?
So I'm sure the others also have focus areas, no? Looking at the different parts and at the strategy for us, it was quite important to also express where do we put focus and what do we leave aside. So what you saw there are the selected ones in our strategy. What we did not present is the ones we really carved out because of missing market opportunities, because of too much difficulty. For example, launching another real estate or jobs vertical in the European market will not do. We crossed it out. We didn't even mention it because too costly, too much money involved, takes too much time to do that. No? Therefore, we wanted to clearly emphasize those are our focus areas. But if you remember the mobility partner, the focus is also there on digitalize the journey, integrating the dealer value chain and offer different ownership models. There are different parts around that, which of course we'll address, but not with this energy and with this investment. Do you have a mic? Okay, good. I'll let you ask the question and then we... Talk into the mic.
Okay, do you hear me? I don't know if they hear me.
No.
Hello, okay, perfect. Thank you for the mic help. So I think it was you, Martin, who mentioned at the beginning that the product vision will work hand in hand with marketing, push notifications, CRM. Will they also be part of the product vision? Or maybe they will have another vision, like marketing vision and so on? Like how we're gonna collaborate together? What's the expectation?
That does work.
It's good for step.
I will have lost.
So regarding the way we are going to collaborate between product and marketing, there is still some discussion ongoing, especially there is a workshop between product and marketing right now in order to define how we are going to work next year all together. What is sure is that we want to make the user reconnect on our platform. We want to have brand consistency between our brands and our products. So we are going to work a lot together. We are going to have dedicated resources for what we call marketing. We are going to have dedicated resources for acquisition, for SEO, for CRM, for push notification. It's key in our product to make sure that our user, we are able to acquire new user, but also make our user to reconnect. As you see on the slide, we are going also to push the right message to the right user at the right moment. So definitely we are going to invest a lot of resources on marketing. After the way of working, it's still under construction, and I hope that we will be able to have something by the end of the year. More closer.
Thank you. I hope there is not many people from the verticals here in this room. My question is, in some countries, Adevinta has only one generalist platform. In other countries, we have a generalist and also some vertical, like in Spain, for example. I was wondering, what will be the strategy alignment between generalist, verticalizing, and verticalize, meaning that Polaris will be 2,500 PNT people working hard to have the best product in generalist and in the verticals. So what will happen when Cochesnet, it's only 80 people working hard on this, Fotocasa 100 and something, InfoJobs 80-ish. How can they compete with Polaris, with all this muscle, trying to build a very strong vertical experience, and how we're going to make sure we don't cannibalize them, because we know they're much better in monetizing than we are on a generalist?
Very good question, Mark. Is what? Every time we fall on the same trap, right? Yes, our vertical leads are accountable of both Polaris and the verticals, no? And within the vertical leadership team is where this alignment is going to happen. With the current strategies, especially in real estate and emerging verticals, that is very thorough, prepare and align at design level, where you want to leverage, as Stefan was saying, you want to leverage the professional, for example, the professional part of the vertical of the InfoJobs of Fotocasa, the professional tools, to the users through Polaris. No? This kind of integration, this, sorry, now I was, sorry. Maybe you want to explain that part, maybe Stefan, maybe better?
So, as Albert was explaining, no, is to one extent the real estate and emerging, the head ofs, the verticals, do own all their parts, also in the generalist part. That's a key. That's a key designing that responsibility. But on the other side, if we look at the assets, we need to clearly also decide where we put our energy. And if we take a look at real estate, for example, the biggest weight is with leboncoin in France. They represent 160 million, whereas in Fotocasa and Habitacli we have 60 million. Not little, but much less. So we need to clearly prioritize where we put our focus. And then if we take a look at the if you take a look at the roadmaps, no, I have 20 minutes. If you take a look at the roadmap, also the timing of Polaris has an impact, or the timing of Lighthouse has an impact there, because we know that between until the mid of 24, we'll have a hard time further integrating. No? Therefore, in the early phase, we'll have teams focusing on horizontals, and we'll have teams focusing on verticals. Later on, 25, 26, that should converge much more, and we should invest into scalability of functions into the horizontals, which we also can use for the verticals, because clearly the strategy says maintain and close the gap towards the leader in the markets in Spain towards Idealista. And that we need to do in jobs, we need to keep it here in Spain. Therefore, we cannot drop investing into the verticals and fully go into the generalists. We need to maintain both, but prioritize where it has the biggest value for us. Did I answer? Good.
Just to add, because before, sorry, I was blocked. Yes, this is a very good way to continue investing in, for example, in Spain verticals. No, it's the only way as Adevinta to make sense to be able to invest also in resources that are going to continue making InfoJobs, for example, better, is finding this way that that investment is not going to be just for the vertical, but is going to be also for the generalist. No? Right now, due to the fact of having a more advanced vertical, we can leverage those kind of advancements, this kind of existing kind of better capabilities or better product towards Polaris to reach the other markets, right? But this is kind of the only way we can continue investing, no? and make sure that we get that leverage.
Sorry.
Let me.
No, there is only one mic.
So I have a question related to the strategy. So I really appreciate the vision being shared. I think it's really nice to have something to aspire to and look forward to. So I'm curious a little bit how we're going to take this into the strategic direction for each product. So inside Polaris, we have a lot of awesome features and product teams. We have also a lot of great metrics. So I'm just curious how we're going to start to build the strategic direction to actually work towards this vision and actually validate that as we go with both user research and all of the data that we have.
Okay, so your question was more for generalists or for vertical? For generalists. So right now, we are focusing on one thing, making alive Polaris. This is our main priority, because if we are not able to reach the target of Polaris, all of this will never happen. So this is our main priority, and let me be clear, if there is one priority to remember, let's do Polaris first. Having said that, Polaris is coming quite fast. Polaris, I don't know if everyone have in mind the next step, but by end of Q3, we will have an app that we will be able to do alpha testing, beta testing, the name you want to use, internal, with internal user, friends and family. End of Q4, we will have a full app that we will be able to start the real user interview in order to understand. And then, end of Q1, we are going to start to A/B test Polaris in Germany until end of Q2, where it will be related at 100%. So we're coming quite fast to the route of Polaris. So it means that starting H2, we will be able to start time to focus on what are the new values that we want to bring to our user, to do user research. I know that right now we are more in a project mode. We are more in outcome mode, okay, this is what we need to deliver. But this has an end, and hopefully we hope with BMC that there is not too much stuff to do in order to reduce it and go faster. But we are going to focus on user tests and starting to redo discovery, let's say probably in Q4. Q3 we are still going to be very focused, but in Q4 there is some teams that will be able to finish what they have to do and then can focus on new area. There is also a new organization that is coming. You know, there was Arise Wave 1 that has been live in January. Arise Wave 2 is for next January. You've all have received some invitation in the upcoming days to talk about the new organization. The new organization will give us also the ability to say, okay, what will be my next focus and on which topic I'm going to work on. So yes, right now we are in a delivery mode because we need to deliver Polaris to accelerate and to make it real and to be able to bring the new value to our user. And then I hope starting Q4, if the risk of the Polaris delivery go low, we can work on bringing new value and do discover and do what we are used to do, the fun part. Let's take this one, and after perhaps let's take a Slido question, probably. No question on Slido. Perfect.
It's working? Yeah. I'm very happy seeing this impact-driven and data-oriented focus on the product, so kudos and good feedback related to that. But with the new global strategy, there are new challenges that are going to naturally appear. One of those is we're working with global and local teams. We have many different products and many different teams. And now we set out 4 main KPIs in Advinta, as well as 10 main KPIs for Lighthouse. Some of our teams probably will have metrics and objectives and KPIs that will go against each other. An example is if we reduce the number of clicks of a user to reach the final content, then we will decrease the revenue due to advertising. So how are we going to make sure that all teams understand that we push towards those main things? Are we going to, I don't know, measure the contribution of each product? Are we going to communicate everything in terms of those KPIs? Like, what's the focus?
Maybe with this one. Yes, hello. we have not aligned how to do this. No, I will say today in the different local markets, no, each country does it completely different. Therefore, I would say that it's the same issue that we have already today. No? For example, in Spain, we have also lots of teams with also some OKRs to pursue, and each team needs to ensure that nothing breaks. No? Therefore, I would say that that issue it's maybe a bit bigger because we are going to have a global organization, but we are already on that situation already today. No? How do we avoid this to happen? No? Kind of this. And it's very difficult. No, one way to ensure that let's say there is no one team pushing against the other is ensuring that we have alignment. No, there is kind of ideally high-level OKRs or goals that we are pursuing, and those goals need to be ideally outcome. No, those are the things that we want to ensure. But also at the same time, at team level, each team must have a clear area of responsibility with clear KPIs. At the end, there are for those top kind of higher level goals, you have also a split on the different layers of the organization, reaching to the team. And at the end, each layer with more and more detail, with what we call, for example, in Spain, health metrics that make sure that what you want to make sure that doesn't break, no, the kind of the vibrancy or whatever is the scope of your team doesn't break. Yes, that would be a little bit the kind of the answer, no? Outcome oriented. We need to find a way to do it in Adevinta with the global organization because we are merging the teams together. Therefore, the way that we do it today in Leboncoin, the way that we do it in Adevinta Spain is completely different. Therefore, we need to find a way that will work for us. By the way, we are working on that. No, we expect to have already within product and tech, no, by the end of this year, clear kind of ways of working on how to the teams, no, make sure that we have a common roadmap or OKRs goal setting for next year. No, Peter Acker's area is working right now on that. But today I don't have a kind of a clear answer of how we are going to do it because we have not defined it. No, that would be.
And just one adding on your example on advertising. For example, we know that there is relevance and advertising. It's two different topics that are going to eat together. Our objective is to be more and more efficient for our user. So we know that we are going to roll out relevance everywhere. It is going to impact advertising. And these numbers are currently, for example, evaluated on the client side because they don't have relevance for the moment. But it's also a new opportunity because we are going to have something like 10 teams working on advertising all together. So this is the reason why we are able to switch from third party to first party. This is the reason why we are able to accelerate on retail media. And so all these resources is also an opportunity to grow. So yes, sometimes we need to decelerate on something, but we have resources, means in order to accelerate and keep growing our business. And let's be sure, ADEX will never let us decrease global revenue. The target is still to grow double-digit growth.
Just to add, no, on the e-commerce strategy, new e-commerce strategy, also a way to solve that is setting clear priorities. No, we say the first priority is the private seller, second priority is the private buyer, third priority is the professional seller. No, setting these kind of priorities that all the organization is aligned towards, it also helps the team to guide. No, but all these kind of things will need to kind of defining also little by little with this bigger organization that we are not used to work. No, but this one, for example, also helps, right?
Thank you for the presentations. My question is about automation, which is the enabler of the strategy. Can you go a little bit deeper on what automation is, what does it mean, and so on?
Yes, we have today machine learning, no? Mainly or artificial intelligence, that what this capability provides us is a way to shape a different experience. No? At the end is let us do something that in the past was not possible. No? And thanks to leveraging this technology, we can create a better user experience, no? Where there were some examples, no? And some of you were working on the click and sell, no? Some kind of months ago, no? That thanks to leveraging this capability, you can create a new user experience. No, this is mainly. No, we want to kind of, as a principle, automate everything. No, we want to make the life of the user as simple, fast, the experience as possible, and mainly due to AI, generative AI, now it's super trendy, you perfectly know. Thanks to all these technologies, no, we can bring that better experience. No? That is the...
If I may add, because from the re-commerce strategy, we also heard from them that the focus area is to keep our uniqueness of connecting people, bringing people together. So yes, we want to automatize as much as possible, but preserving also our identity of being a marketplace in where people also appreciate the fact that they connect with each other. So we need to have also the user perspective into automation.
More questions?
I think there are no questions on Slido, no? I'm checking on the phone, but just no, there are no questions on Slido. So any other question?
Want to close?
So thank you very much for being there. It's the beginning of a new journey, all together. This is the first time that we will be all together at Adevinta level. We have so many stuff to do for our user. I don't know how do you feel when you do this you listen to this presentation, but it's very exciting. It's definitely stuff that we are talking about since months, years. Everything will be possible because we are 2,500 people all together on one platform. It's a big change, and all together we will be able to reach this, to go deeper in our user needs, and to provide an experience where we will be able to be proud of, but also fight against our competitor. Thank you very much, and have a good lunch.